Welcome back to a new video. So this is my Saturday workout, which typically are my heavy ones of the week, or at least the one where I like to try to go the heaviest in all the lifts. So decided to do waves again. Been really liking these. I think it's like the third time doing these waves. So on this one, I pushed up from doing 100, 105, 110 to doing 103, 108, 113. On the first wave, I was able to hit all three of the reps. On the second wave, I missed 108 and 113, but then on the third wave, I was able to make all three again and then do some extra overhead squats on the last 113 that I did. So because of that, I probably won't take another 3 kilo jump on these waves. I would like to do this workout again, at least as far as the waves go, maybe like on Wednesday. It kind of depends on how I'm feeling throughout the week. But this is a kind of session that I like to do twice a week, or at least that's the current idea of the plan. And the reason for that is just to get a lot of practice, a decent amount of volume, and just to make sure that I'm trying to get better at being consistent in the lifts. This session was kind of interesting as well because I didn't have a ton of energy, or I didn't feel like super ready to train, I guess, in a sense. Like I had plenty of caffeine, sleep, and I had even done some mobility stuff and didn't have any reason to not feel good for training. So I kind of knew like I'd be able to train well. I just knew it was just kind of, I don't know, I guess like a mental fog, but it wasn't anything that was too extreme. It's just one of those days where it's like you think you're going to feel really, really good, and you feel probably 80% of where you thought you should feel, at least cognitively. But physically felt pretty good, a little sore and stuff, but I think not training the previous day on Friday was the smart choice, just because it allowed me to get some extra recovery in and to not be just overextended for a training session like this one. That was going to be a lot of general work to be doing. But here's the first wave with 103. A little bit forward. And that was how I missed the first 108, was forward. And then the 113, you'll kind of see like it was just a little bit overcorrected behind me. It was a really close miss. But then on the last set, they were all pretty decent. But really, the issue that I had on the second set that I was kind of realizing on the 108, obviously it was early, but the mental part of it is what messed me up. I spent too much time contemplating and thinking about all the different things to do with the lift, so that kind of messed me up. And then on the 113, I made all those corrections, but it made it almost go too well in the sense that I went a little further back than I thought I was going to go. And really all I had to think about, and what I thought about on the third wave, was just arching my back and trying to keep my back in that extended, I think, hyperextension, but it's not ever really in that, just because I'm 106 kilos or 107 kilos. And so really just trying to maintain my back position in that extension throughout the pull, and it's making the third pull, or at least the second and third, that transition feel really good and consistent. As long as I think about that, then I think that will obviously be a good thing to do. I think the trick, though, is trying not to be too herky-jerky off the ground, because that will pull me out of position. That's one thing I'm noticing when I'm doing clean pulls or snatch pulls, is that they'll feel a lot better if I'm just smoother off the ground, not necessarily not being aggressive, but sometimes I kind of jerk it off the ground a little bit too fast, and then it pulls me out of position. So just trying to be a little bit more patient off the ground, but just still trying to maintain that dynamic start, because that is the kind of tricky part with using the dynamic start, which I'll never be able to get away from, because I've literally used it since the first time I've done a deadlift, and it was completely natural for me to use for deadlifts, and so naturally it's going to be feeling good for pulls. And I think just being like a longer limbed relatively to, because my proportions are relatively long and like I'm good at pulls, like the dynamic start is probably was always going to feel natural, but I'm never going to get away from that, because you can actually, I think, exert more force with that. But anywho, pretty happy with how snatches ended up. Happy to come back on that third wave and make the adjustments and make those. But if I do the waves again, this similar session, I would like to potentially add 2 kilos on each of the waves and do 105, 110, 115. But that'll kind of depend on the day and how that's feeling. Definitely don't want to go up another 3 kilos for the next one, because it might just feel too difficult. But we'll kind of see. I might just try to repeat this same snatch waves the next time. Same with the clean and jerks, because they didn't feel too bad, but definitely didn't feel very great. Like I didn't think I had a ton more in the tank, but I was very happy to do the waves in the clean and jerk, because that's kind of a big step for me, I suppose, just doing more volume in the clean and jerk, because it is difficult to do that. But for clean jerks, I do 2 waves instead of 3, because there's just be too much work to do in one particular exercise, and it would just wear me out too much. But this I did 123, 133, 143 as you saw, then went back down to 123, 133 here, and then 143 again. In the back of my mind, I thought about trying to double the jerk, but I didn't really catch it that well. At least it wasn't bad. I mean, we'll see here. It wasn't necessarily a bad rep, but it wasn't good enough where I was like, all right, time to re-rack it and try another rep. It didn't feel stable enough to do that. And, it wasn't even really the goal. Just like the overhead squats for the snatch, like it's just something that it's not necessary unless I really want to do it. I had the glasses on because I was laying down for a while to relax before I did squats, because part of me wanted to try to go up to something like 235 today. But as I was moving up, and really once I did 205, I kind of knew, like, all right, like I could probably do 227 again, and that's just going to be better just to repeat that weight. And honestly, looking at the video, it doesn't really look particularly different than when I did it a couple days ago. But when I was actually doing the rep, it actually felt, I don't even know what to say. Like, I put on Instagram in the caption that it felt faster, and in a sense it did, but it felt better. I don't really know how to describe it, because it wasn't like, oh, this exploded, it moved so fast, but I guess it felt like I was like in a better position. I was more upright with it, so it felt better in that sense. So it tells me that I probably do have more, probably not on this particular session, but I still want to continue to make this 227 or 230, whatever I happen to do on a particular day, be consistent, because that will allow me to eventually push up a little bit above then. But I really think I'm starting to get close to that point where I'm going to be able to start taking cracks at, I think it's, I said in the last video, is like 236 with 520 pounds, like to take something either. I think at first I want to try to just get to that weight, because I've only ever done that one time on a random day, not really a random day, but like just one time ever. So if I can get up to just doing that number consistently, like that 235, then that's obviously just going to be progress in a sense, because I've done 230 a bunch of times, I've done 225, 227 a bunch of times, but anything above that has been a lot less consistent, and certainly will be beneficial. But session on Sunday, I know I want to do some lunges, some snatch pulls. There's a variety of things. Oh, and after I did all the training that you saw, I did some overhead tricep extensions and some bicep curls, got some pump work in that. Since when I'm at the gym, that's the best time to do that, since I like the cable machine for it. And was really happy with the upper body accessory work. Felt really good too. So I'm progressing a little bit on that, but it's not going super fast. But at the same time, like, the goal is to get hypertrophy, not to necessarily increase the weight crazily with those, because it is difficult because you're working with smaller muscles in general. But anywho, that's enough blank space at the end. If you made it to this part of the video, or any part of any video at any point of the channel's existence, I appreciate it, and I hope you all have a great day and a great Monday, because that's when it'll be coming out. Take care. Peace.